if this person was gone that's in your life, that plays such a crucial part of your life, what would you be doing differently? What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Actually Good Coffee podcast, the show where we talk about all things coffee related, all while I drink a cup of coffee. Right now, I'm not drinking a cup of coffee because I had about 3 today. I'm feeling pretty loose. I had an iced Americano from Noon in Spring Lake. It's a small cafe. I had another iced Americano from the counter at the Asbury Hotel in Asbury Park. And then I had one more. I can't remember where it was from, but I remember I had 3 today in total. Last week, we sold 735 pounds of coffee total. If we're looking at last year's previous same week, we sold just about 586 pounds. So that's a big jump, especially compared to last week since we were down, but we are back. All right, we're back now. We have to finish out this month strong because last year we finished with about 704 pounds of coffee sold in that last week of May. So we have to sell at least that much to average more than we did last year. Today, I wanted to talk about this idea of doing more rather than less. I know it sounds very existential. It's this idea that you can always do more. You can always do more. A lot of people think that they've reached their limit, they've reached their maximum amount of output that they've achieved for the day, but you can always do more. There's always more that you can tap into. It's not a matter of how much you can do. It's more so a matter of how aware you are within your line of work. I'm going to talk about 3 things that you can do right now to be doing more, to always do more. All right. Number one is to write it down the night before. Before you go to bed at night, write down what you have to do the next day and expand as much as possible. What you're trying to do is set the intention in place the night before when you have a good idea of what you have to do the next day so that you don't forget anything. And you want to expand as much as possible so you get that momentum going, so you can feel more accomplished because you need that momentum. It can literally be that you need to go to the bathroom first thing in the morning. Number 1, boom, done. Checked off the list. On to number 2, which is go to the gym or do emails or whatever it is that you need to do to get up and get going and get your day started. The more that you can expand, the better of a day and the better feeling you can have at that end of the day. You need to write things down, especially if you own a business. I know for some people they're not this way, but for me, I'm not the greatest writer, but I got started when I was about 16. A friend of mine actually gifted me a Moleskine pocket notebook when I turned 16. He told me to basically write down whatever thoughts I had. And at the time, that was a super therapeutic thing that I was able to do. And I continued on and got to the point where now I have about 3 separate notebooks that I do. I have one for my personal thoughts that I need to get down or vent about. I have one for work, and then I also have one for coffee roasting as well. I've gone through phases also with this throughout my life, but any time that I ever come back to it, I've gone as long as even a year at times of just not writing down at all. But anytime I come back to it, I feel just more grounded in what I'm doing. I have a better, clearer thoughts, more concrete ideas that come from doing this daily practice. And again, it's like ask anyone that is successful. I think that you will always find the same idea, which is that they're always keeping this mindset of learning and always wanting to keep track of anything that might come their way. I think as you get older, obviously you get more set in your ways. You don't become as open as you were maybe when you were first starting off, but especially when you are starting off. And if you are new to the game, then you want to be taking as many notes and keeping track of as many different things as possible. So that's number 1. Number 2, reach out to your clients. So if you're in a position of work where you have clients or accounts that you might attend to, even coworkers that you might not see all the time, or just people you know within the industry, I would say that a great idea in doing more, especially at those times where you feel like you're done, reach out to them. And I don't mean mindlessly check in, but rather put yourself in their shoes and think of what they need. So take some time, obviously, before you just, blow up their phone or send them an email. That might be kind of annoying sometimes, especially if they're a good or a big client that you have. They don't want to just be bothered with mindless nonsense. But think about it. Think about what they might need, if they're running into any hurdles or any issues with the product that they're selling that's yours, that they're offering, and think about what they could use. Maybe send them a gift, even maybe a new product that you just brought on, or just something to let them know that you're thinking about them, and you can easily show the easiest way that you can show that you appreciate them and that you're just thinking of them. Also, referrals. Referrals come from clients that you have already, and that is a key way of getting more business, especially if they're a good client, because you want more of those types of clients. So that's number 2. And number 3 is, if you think about yourself 30 years from now, would you be proud of what you're doing right now in this moment? Would you be happy that you're relaxing after the long day, or if you're putting something off for the next day, or if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing? If you've ever read the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill actually talks about this sort of idea, where you have your imaginative core group of people that you meet with. You're constantly in communication with them on a daily basis, and you're running these ideas by them to find out what it is that you should exactly be focusing on, or if these ideas are even good, or if you should be doing something else. This idea where you're thinking of a future or imaginative person that you respect, which the easiest way to do it is to think about yourself in the future and think about what they would want you to be doing at this current moment. Gary Vee also talks about this idea. Some of you might not know who he is. He's just an influencer on Instagram. You probably know who Gary Vee is. If you don't know who Gary Vee is, you should just look him up. Gary Vee talks about this idea, and it's a little bit extreme, and I've heard people talk about this and make light of it and just joke about it, but I think some people need it, which is, when you're in the shower or you're just getting done with the day, think about a loved one who died. Think about them dead. And it's dramatic, and it's maybe not helpful to some people, but I think some people need that. It's like, put these things into perspective. If this person was gone, that's in your life, that plays such a crucial part of your life, what would you be doing differently? Would you take things more seriously than you would right now? What would you be focusing on right now if they were gone, rather than if they were still around and took responsibility for some of your actions or picked up the slack a little bit? Think about these things that you don't usually ever process through because they're just givens. They're concrete ideas that you've never thought about. What if they weren't a part of that situation that you're currently in? I think that's a good place to end. Sorry if I'm rambling a little bit. This was something that kind of came to me today, and I thought it could be pretty important and maybe help somebody else out. So thank you all for listening. I will talk to you again very soon.